There was a recent survey which said that 35% of SaaS companies are already using AI and 42% are in the process of adopting it.
I thought that number will be higher.
Again, it's people who have already adopted or in process of adopting.
Yeah.
So people talking, I'm sure, is 100%.
Yeah.
Experience management is a very niche sort of platform. So what were the different challenges while identifying that niche?
One of the key challenges that we face was experience management as industry was evolving. Not many people knew about experience management, what is voice of customer, what is voice of employee.
So everybody has their own definition of success.
I think first of all, there's no shortcut of success. Right? That is very important. You have to grill, be patient, and don't go after money. Try to build a legacy.
So if you weren't building XEBO, what do you think you would be doing?
For me, the environment was always finance. What about you? Wish I was as talented. I was not that. There's a difference between customer service and experience. Experience is something that you always remember for a long time.
Imagine building a platform that is data driven and converting customer experience into actionable insights for your organization. Welcome to Build with Shreya, where ideas and stories inspire you to grow and build something extraordinary. Today we have with us Yash, who is the CEO and co-founder of XEBO.ai, and it is a SaaS platform that is helping organizations transform their businesses by creating a feedback loop for their product and services through customer experience. And so in this episode, we're going to dive into his journey from being a finance guy to leading an experience management platform. And we're going to explore the power of data, AI, and building a SaaS startup, which is full of challenges in a global setting. So, without further ado, let's welcome Yash to Build with Shreya. So I usually get fascinated with people trying to solve different problems around them, and specifically when it comes to building technology solutions. So I really want to understand your journey and specifically in the niche that you chose, which is experience management, right? So how did that look like, and how did you go about, specifically focusing on experience management?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Shreya, for inviting me. I've been listening to your podcast, and it's been an amazing series that you have started, right? And finally, we are here. I think we met around 3 months back when we thought that we'll do a podcast together. So good to be here. Coming to the point in terms of how I started and how I built XEBO.ai, I would say I'm an accidental entrepreneur in terms of the field that I chose, but there was always a inclination to do something different, to do something on my own. I did my engineering, and after that, I did my MBA in finance because I come from a finance background. My father is a stockbroker. We built into that field. When I was also doing engineering, I was not very fascinated towards coding and becoming a coder, but I always wanted to build things. Whether I was not clear what to do at that time. I joined a consulting company, management consulting company, and my projects are primarily in Middle East. I used to travel a lot to Middle East countries, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and others. And that is where I met my co-founder as well, partner. We used to work in the same company. He was the director, and I was the analyst who joined that company. So there was a big difference, but we used to stay together, and we used to have great time together and discussing different ideas, playing different sports together as well. And when I left that company, I joined an IT company as a product manager. So develop certain products from scratch. Because before that, it was always a uh, phobia in terms of creating the products, because you've always seen fascinated on developing product, but you have not done it with your own hands. So with that, you get a lot of confidence that yeah, you can build something now on your own. And you see, you build products which have been used by millions of people. The first product that I created was an e-commerce platform for an insurance company. So which was used by a lot of people across India. And then I again met my partner in Dubai for one of the meets, and I was telling him that yeah, I got a hand because we were always discussing a lot of ideas that let's do building, because we have been fortunate enough to be born or being in the era where startups were being starting developing in India, especially the technology startups, right? And everyone was discussing, we when we started our careers, Flipkarts and Amazon and others were coming up. So we were all fascinated about those ideas. So I was telling him that I built some startups. So he said, let's do something together. I said, okay, yeah, let's do it. We put down, and I was not aware about what is experience management at that time. It is
Absolutely.
just that we found an opportunity that differentiating factors between the companies were less, right? If you use an Uber, Ola, you visit a restaurant, you book order from Amazon or from Flipkart, they have the same product portfolio, same kind of SLAs in terms of delivery. If you open a bank account with any other bank, I don't see. It's very difficult to choose whether you have to choose Kotak, ICICI, or any other bank for that matter.
Mhm.
So the key difference that came out was in terms of how the services are being offered to the consumers. So we started from a customer service point of view in terms of understanding how's the customer service being offered by different companies. So that is where we started. But when we started, the idea was to build a product within a 6 month span, minimal viable product. Luckily, we got one of the big companies as for one of our first client. They took that bet that let's see what you have built, we'll try to use it. So the first client that we got was an insurance company called Bupa. So we have been fortunate enough to get those brand names working with us. And then when we got serious, yeah, things are getting serious. We started understanding more about the space, and we understood that how the industry is moving from service oriented to an experience space, though these names are being used alternatively, but there's a very thin line between what is a service and what is an experience. So that was our journey back in 2017.
So, like, I mean, just a question around like, how did you bootstrap this entire journey till now, or were you also looking at funding as an option?
So that's a very interesting part. Both my previous, when I thought that let's start something, I went to my current company that this is something that I want to start, and they said yeah, let's do that, and they said that don't leave the job, start keep on working, and we'll give you some funds and some engineers to work on that. So that is how they gave us a seed fund. So token amount of $50,000, and that is how we started. That was good enough for us to get the momentum, get that push to develop,
Absolutely.
work on first 6 months to build the product. After that, we have been bootstrapped. So as I tell, after 6 months, we got our first client on board. Second client was HSBC, which is again a big name, and we start building on those fronts at our end. So it's been 6 years. We have been a profitable organization. Yeah, that's our journey till now.
Yeah, so the initial push, and then of course, different clients sort of coming in the
Yeah.
picture. And experience management is a very niche sort of a platform, or industry that you focused on. So, what were the different challenges while identifying that niche, and then going forward, how did you sort of grow in that niche with your initial customers, and a majority of your customers coming later on? How did you sort of navigate that entire niche market that you were looking at the first place?
See, one of the key challenges that we face was experience management as industry was evolving. The first customer experience summit or position was developed in 2014. So it's a very initial journey that was there when we started in 2017. Not many people knew about experience management, what is voice of customer, what is voice of employee. Uh, and the people were primarily fascinated around collecting feedback, um, taking care of CSAT and PS scores. So as I was telling that there's a difference between customer service and experience. Experience is something that you always remember for a long time. Nowadays, if you go to a restaurant, or you go to a hotel, or you go to a movie, it doesn't really matter in terms of what was the quality of the food. That it does matter, but it's not your number one priority. That I want to go to this place because the food is good, or this movie is very knowledgeable or very entertaining, or this hotel is located in a very nice place. It's about the experience that you're having at that particular place. So if you go to a restaurant, there are a lot of Michelin stars restaurants, fine dining restaurants which are coming up, and they focus primarily on the experience part, how you're able to bring out that experience that people remember you for, not for today but for ages, and they become your promoters. They start recommending you to friends and family, because referral is the key reasons why a a lot of businesses are thriving. They focus more on getting the referrals and relay part. So that was the key challenge to understand the industry, how is it evolving, and especially the COVID times was very difficult for organizations to understand how to manage experiences because a lot of people were moving from physical to digital channels. They were not used to selling things, providing services online. People still used to go to bank branches, go to stores to buy clothes or any appliances that they had. And digital becoming one of the key channels is something that COVID taught us as a entire generation or entire business fraternity. So that were the key challenges that we faced around how to navigate with these real time problems and how to distinguish between just collecting the feedback and taking them in, converting them into actionable insights. So if uh, I'm traveling by, let's say, any airlines, if my luggage got lost, so how can we take real time actions not only to help that particular customer resolve and find that luggage, but ensure that these things do not happen in future, because that one bad experience cause and imagine someone is going on a holiday and they lose their luggage going with family with kids, they will always like, remember that experience, they will tell it to their friends and family. But in case if you are acting on a timely basis, helping them resolve, being there for them, showing the empathy, closing those points, that is something how you can deliver the experiences in crisis is something that is very important. That is something that we wanted to learn and provide those inputs to our customers so that they can take those timely actions.
So, I mean, as you mentioned about this entire journey, let's say of a passenger, right? So, I'm sure that different industries would have a different sort of a workflow when it came to these experience journeys that their users were facing, right? So, was your solution very specific to a certain industry to start with? How did you prioritize different sectors and different experiences for customers while you were deciding your ideal customer profile in the very start?
When we started, we were exploring, we were not specific to certain industries or verticals, but we understand that one of the key users of solutions like us are primarily who are dealing with end customers. So in a B2C space, because that is where the key interactions with the customers lie, and you're not able to track each and every moment or interaction with the customers. When it comes to B2B, still there are a lot of personalized experiences that are being offered by companies through relationship managers or through executives being in touch with the clients. So B2C was the space that we identified, and we look at the industries where the competition was fierce and differentiating factors within the services were less. So, for example, the key industries when we started to tap were banking and insurance, because when it comes to financial data, when it comes to insurance, people are very particular about the experiences that they have. They want to be working with a particular institution that is very trustworthy, their money is safe, and they get the right information. But having said that, the kind of differentiating factors, for example, if you and bank A is giving you a savings bank account interest rate of 4%, another would be giving it 4%, 4.2%, and turnaround time to open these bank accounts, to provide services, having a branch close to your house. We see within 100 meters, within half a kilometer, you will see a bank branch of all the major banks which are there. So differentiating factors were less. That is where we focus more, because they wanted to not only understand the customers but retain the customers, because cost of switching from the customer sides were getting lower and lower. Now, for example, in telecom, with number portability, it's become so much easier to change your telecom operators. Unfortunately, in India, we don't have many choices. But imagine having 20 choices of telecom operators, and within a span of sending a message on your phone, you can switch the telecom operator. Even now, the regulations that are coming up, like click to cancel, which was introduced by Government of India recently. With a click of a button, you can cancel any subscription. Imagine canceling your subscription of your Netflix account or Prime account with a click of a button. So that is where we understood that where the power is with the consumers for they can switch easily are the key areas where providing the right experience is very important.
So as you mentioned that your co-founder was based in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
Or somewhere.
Yeah.
Did that help you, have more focus on the Middle Eastern market or the KSA market? Or how did you navigate the geographical priority in terms of the market that was good for XEBO?
See, there are a couple of reasons. One of the key reasons is that we knew the market because my co-founder has been based out of that market for last 25 years. I've been traveling to that market for last 7, 8 years when we started. So we understood the pulse of the market. We understood, we knew the people in the market, that what are the key pain points of the organization in the market. We realized that that market was very underserviced. A lot of global players were selling their solutions, but they were not providing the kind of services that market wanted. They were still providing support services implementation from their global offices either in Europe or in US, working on those time zones, providing email support, chat support. So we thought that we could provide something same experience and we can provide it at a better service having locally present in that market, uh, having a local team there, who because technology I believe always it's an enabler, and it's very important that people understand the implementations are right because we hear so many cases of implementations being not done in a right way. So there were not many choices for companies in Middle East. Now we see a lot of Middle East startups also coming into place, and the market is evolving. That was one of the key reason. Second reason, we understood that if you look at the dynamics of Middle East market from what is there right now versus 10 years back, Middle East, when we were there, they were focusing on diversifying from being an oil-based economy. So they wanted to open new avenues of businesses, economy, and they wanted to diversify from oil-based to a non-oil-based economy. And we understood one of the key reasons that the things would be there in terms of how they will provide attract best talent, attract a lot of visitors in the market, so and become one of the great place to live in, because that was one of the key reasons, because Middle East had always been a cosmopolitan economy. If you look at the uh, population profile of UAE, you will find only less than 20% locals, Emiratis, more than 50% Indians, a lot of Westerners and people from other Asian expats. And in Saudi Arabia as well, you will find around 60% locals and then 40% expats. So they wanted to attract the right talent, right people to visit that market. One of the key reasons, pillars around is in terms of improving the experiences that they can provide to residents, locals, and people who are visiting.
There was a recent survey which said that 35% of SaaS companies are already using AI, right? And 42% are in the process of adopting it. So, how do you see that sort of coming into picture with the SaaS startups today? And what is your perspective on the same?
I thought that number will be higher because everyone is talking about AI in the SaaS ecosystem.
Again, it's people who have already adopted or in process of adopting.
Yeah.
So people talking, I'm sure, is 100%.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you have the answer. So I think that number will keep on increasing because it's the biggest shift that has happened in the technology industry since the advent of internet, right? So when World Wide Web came, right, a lot of people build up new businesses. A lot of old businesses who did not adapt went down. Same case season we're expecting that it will be the case with AI. So the people will have to adapt to using AI, right? There's no choice, unfortunately, or fortunately, that to you can side and you can take time to come into this boat. Uh, Eventually, everyone has to come, and a lot of I know a lot of large enterprises, established SaaS companies as well, have AI as one of the biggest point, and all the research and development is going into that field. and they're also revisiting and looking at their existence as well. The use cases that they have developed, they have built so successfully, clients have loved those. Will it be relevant in the coming future or not? So in one word, yes, I see that percentage to be very close to 80-90% in future. But one thing that is very important when it comes to AI is that we should not add AI just for the sake of adding AI, or in a technology jargon word we call it AI washing. That's not the end objective. It's really important to build actual use cases, work along with the customers, and ensure that whatever you are building, it may be a small step that you are taking, clients should actually start implementing those. Having AI just for the sake of AI will not be helpful for anyone in the long term.
Like when we talk about experience management, it's also at the core of it is people, right? It's about people, it's about their journey, right? So how are you sort of drawing that line between adopting AI and at the same time making sure that it is still the people's emotions, people's journeys that are coming to light when it comes to giving actionable insights to the companies? So just want to understand how you're sort of navigating that.
See, that's a very good question, Shreya. And what we believe is that AI is basically enabling you to take better decisions, to understand the customers better, and to be more empathetic towards your user base. At the end, when we work with someone, it's more of an human interactions that we crave for, right? And that is something that we remember, right? Today we are doing a podcast because people like to build stories. They're fascinated towards stories. We always remember the stories, not the outcome that is there, right? It's always important to have good stories, good experiences along with them. With AI, we are able to build those stories. We are able to bring those personalization at scale. So, for example, now if you order food from Zomato, they will already know what are your taste buds, what are your ordering preferences, and they will be also able to customize it by the time of at which you are ordering, midnight cravings versus and a party that you're throwing to your friends. All those personalization are possible because of AI. Now, if you have to book a Uber, you already know at what time you are going to what place. So that the first suggestion will be, so for example, when I am open an Uber at 2 a.m. at the night, they know I have to go to the airport. So that is the first suggestion and makes my life much simpler. So these experiences are possible because of AI. We're able to deliver that hyper personalization at scale, which was not possible earlier. Second is the quality of the experiences that we can provide to the customers. Has AI has a potential to improve that drastically as well. So with AI, we are not able to only look at the issues, but we are able to look at it on a real time basis as well. So if I'm traveling in a flight, AI can help me understand if my seats are not reclining or my entertainment systems are not working, and take corrective actions on the go. So those experiences can be further improved with the help of AI. But yeah, you are right. Experiences will always be the key forefront of any interaction that you're having with your family, friends, or businesses.
So when we are sort of capturing these experiences of people, it's like massive amount of data. So turning that massive amount of data into actionable insights, I'm sure, and meeting the customer needs at the same time must be a bit challenging. So there must be some thoughtful designing into the entire scalability of the product that must have gone into it. So if you can tell us a little bit about that.
When it comes to scalability, yeah, it's very important for any business, especially when we are working with a lot of enterprises. The platform or the system, the data that we are getting is huge. On a daily basis, millions of interactions are happening by brands. Uh, for example, you're working with an airlines and they have more than 10 million plus passengers who are traveling on a daily basis. So imagine the number of interactions that you are having. When you're building any solutions at a scale, always look at a 5 year horizon that you're in. I would not advise the entrepreneurs who are starting right now to build something that you will build it for next 20 years. We are not in that environment, and it will take them a lot of effort, time, and also resources to build those. So what we do at our end is that we look at a 5-year horizon. What is the scale we are planning to reach in next 5 years? Generally, you will, if all things are going well, you will try to achieve meet those scales in 3 years, and then really look at what scales, architectures that you have built, and keep on evolving at your end. Having said that, when it comes to especially around the unstructured data that is coming in right now through videos, audios, text, with the advent of large language models, LLM models, it has fairly become easier for organizations, medium-sized organization like us, to process those data and come up with insights. If you tell me, Yash, can you build a AI model from scratch with the resources? I would say no, but it's not about building things from scratch. It's about using the best in class technologies that are there and train those models on your use case. That has been the model at XEBO that we have followed till now, and that has been great results, because we are living in a world where we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have to use best in class technologies together, package it, use it for your use cases, and deliver to the customers.
Absolutely. I think, and that brings me to a point that even the small and medium businesses have now access to different data driven insights. Earlier they were only reserved for the large corporations, but with AI, it has become possible for smaller companies to get access to all of that data, right? And so if we look at the SaaS growth, it's almost 40.2% CAGR. How do you see addressing challenges regarding securing AI solutions, right? And when they're scaling to such a extent, and so many people are using them.
See, that's a industry-wide challenge, not only in terms of different businesses, but also with having your digital identity in your own hands is something that everyone is trying to understand and uh, trying to find, because one of the key, when a new things come into picture, right, there are always two sides of the coin. Something that you can use it to build great systems, but there are always consequences where you can also use it for mass destructions and also for scamming and other activities. We have seen with likes of digital identity fraud, deep fakes that are coming into picture. So it's very important, and I think governments are taking action towards that. It's that things are evolving at such a fast pace. uh, EU has already come up with their own laws around AI, usage of AI, in terms of using the private data that is the way there, in terms of listening to private conversations, personal identification details, whether you're using those in terms of training the data. But I think it's us as a fraternity that have to come together to come up with the right framework in which the AI has to be used. Currently, we are working with a lot of companies, leading companies, cutting edge companies. They still have not started implementing AI because they still are understanding the impact of AI, building the regulations around those points. So it is something which is very important right now. We are still finding answers. Uh, there are companies who are doing it in the right way, and there are companies who are using it for other areas as well. But yeah, it is something which is a cause of concern right now.
Even if you talk about the adoption of AI, right? So right now it is sort of a key differentiator between competitors who is adopting it fast. So it's more about the speed of adoptions. Adoption is like the key differentiator right now. But if you sort of look into the future, probably when everybody is sort of sufficiently adopted it, and there's so many people sort of jumping into the AI bandwagon, how do you see companies differentiating in the kind of value they're bringing out there?
On that share, there was a report from Sequoia Capital, which I want to bring it here. So we will see that technology solutions as a offering will change drastically in the future. Currently, we are focusing in terms of features. The key matrices are different. So, for example, in terms of what is the kind of return of investment that you can get, or when it comes to, let's say, marketing automation solutions, what kind of number of impressions, open rates that you can do. In our cases, what kind of response rate, NPS scores that you can do. It will move from these matrices to a outcome driven approach. The outcome approach, different approach could be, let's say if my satisfaction scores today are, let's say, 50, can you bring it to 60 or 70? So that is where the key differentiation will lie. Technology will become as a what I will call is in terms of basic hygiene check that you can provide. But the outcome that you can deliver will become the key topping points. People will look at those outcomes, what you can deliver, give you a time frame of 6 to 1 months if you can deliver those, and take actions on those. So we are going from a metric driven to an outcome driven world, especially when it comes to technology.
So the government of India's recently sort of set apart $119 million just to support startups as a fund, right? But that also sort of puts a lot of pressure on startups to grow and like deliver quickly. So how do you think the government policies are impacting startups, specifically when it comes to India?
See, here I really want to bring that example of Middle East as well. One thing that's a great initiative by government to support startups, especially in the SaaS industries, as you were talking about, by giving them the required funds, especially at initial stage, not only in tier one cities, but in tier two, tier three cities as well, where the access to capital, people are not aware about how to raise capitals, and the access is also limited. It's very important to have these initial funds so that they can build some use cases and deliver and showcase as well. I think governments, especially in India, what they can focus in terms of giving that the startups the environment and the platform to build solutions for which can be implemented by them for practical use cases. That is where I think that government of India can do something better, create some incubator hubs. Giving money is one thing, but creating those incubator hubs, working with the startups to develop the use cases which can be implemented by them.
I think that's something Middle East is doing quite
Yeah,
well,
so
right?
that is something.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is where I think really want to bring that Middle East point. If you work in UAE and KSA, they have built a lot of incubator hubs, inviting startups not only from within their own country but across the globe to come to build these use cases, co-create those use cases together with them, providing them with the facilities of their office, access to subject matter experts, servers, etc. at their end to build, come, show, deliver, and see how it goes forward. So that is something which we really like, and I think world, especially India, can take examples from that front. There are a lot of startups who have come across, and if you see in Middle East and especially in UAE and Saudi Arabia, you always see that government are the first adopters of technology.
Absolutely.
Which is something which is very unique in that market. I believe India can also take a leap out of that because there's so many use cases right now within. Uh, if you talk about any use cases, whether it's talk about infrastructure, employment, hygiene, population, there's so many use cases which where startups, bright mind, young mind can come up with technology and make India a better living place. So that is where I think Indian government can work together and not only build IITs, not only build triple ITs, IIMs, but also use their incubator hubs to work together and develop actual practical use cases as well.
No, in 2023, I was at GITEX, which is one of the biggest technology conferences right there. So I saw an amazing display by the government where, all of these use cases, as you mentioned, which were related to social well-being of the people and like different infrastructure related solutions. And they were sort of taking applications by different startups for that. So I don't see those kind of things here right now. So I'm sure that, I think that's a very good line of thought as far as India is concerned on how they can take inspiration from
Yeah.
sort of a collaborative effort towards public betterment with technology. I think that's something they can focus on.
Yeah. I think there are some things which are happening in silos, maybe, and that is mainly individual driven as well.
Yes.
But if we, as a government, can make it as an initiative, one of the pillars for our next 10, 12 years down the lane, is something that will make it more inclusive as well.
What is your idea about sustainable growth? As you scale the business, the question comes in that how do you sustainably grow the business? How do you make sure that, again, I mean, as your firm is profitable for the past few years, how do you make sure, how do you sort of vision your strategy around sustainable growth for your organization?
See, personally, we believe that growth has to be sustainable because you cannot keep on burning cash, right? And there are different school of thoughts. So I'm not saying that those who are raising high investments and high capital and to growing using that to grow the business, that is also great. But our point of view always has been to build something which you can build it for generations as a legacy, build something which is viable as well, develop use cases which clients can actually implement. And when you start building the company from the growth that you're doing, right, you spend to tend to use the money more wisely as well, right? And I think the world is also going into a direction. We have gone other days where it was easy to take VC funds and uh, the capital was available easily. Now all the VC for companies are also looking at sustainable growth at their end. So it's very important to because you're not only building something for next 4 5 years to build something and get out of the business. That was never our objective when we not wanted to grow rich in a matter of 4 5 years. We wanted to build something which can be last for a longer period. And it's also an imperative when people who are working with us, currently we are 100 plus and hopefully we will big soon, that people grow with along with us. They feel they're working in an environment where they can be with us for a longer period and they see future with us. There have been stages around COVID, other 2024, right? Where because we have grown sustainably, we have not made any firings or asked people to leave because of budget cuts. So that is the environment we want to build within ourselves as a company.
So, like coming to the point of teams, right? The team has to align with the company's vision, right? So, and that's what sort of makes the company culture thrive across different geographies it's functioning in, and all of that. So, can you elaborate a little bit around how you sort of build that team culture within your company? How does your team function across different geographies?
I think currently we are a small team, so it's a close knit team. It's very important to build an environment where it's they're not working in a company, they're working as a team. So it's important, and we have been lucky enough to have team members who have been not only working with their work but looking after each other as well. So that is an environment we always fostered and wanted to create within the organization. And one of the key reason when I reflect and see how we have been able to build it is that we, as a company, has been built by people fresh out of college, right? Young people, fresh minds, willing to uh, have the right energies, try out things, not afraid to experiment and fail, right? But coming from the college culture, you still are uh, in a way that you are not blend into a corporate life, right? You still have living with friends, working together, having that culture. So that is something when we hire. So currently we have a team of around 100 people, more than 50%, 60% are the people who started with the first company was XEBO. So once that culture is there, you always look after your friends, colleagues. You're starting your journey together. So you always, if I also remember, I always the great experience that I had is in my first company where we all were starting our journeys together. That is where we always remember each other and are always there for each other to help out. So that is something that helped each other as to grow that culture within XEBO.
For young entrepreneurs who are wanting to sort of build for UAE or for the GCC market, do you have any recommendations on how to navigate that market? What are the different steps they can take? What is essential for them to get started, build their company out of there, get to the right use cases, build the right product for that market, and then sort of grow from there? If you could just sort of give some guiding tips for new entrepreneurs in that market, it'll be great.
So I think first of all, it's not about building for a market. I would say that build your solution for a global audience, right? But yeah, product market fit has to be there for key markets that you are planning to enter. Yeah, US has always been a benchmark, and as an Indian startups founders, we always want to sell in US. So my first suggestion will be always to look at US as a market, see if you can build use cases. GCC is more attractive because it's, first of all, it's very closer to our home, right? We can service, we can deliver to that market, travel also in a span of few hours as well. So that is a key advantage of GCC, and the market is more open towards new technologies currently and innovation at their end. The important part is when it comes to GCC as a market, it's a very network and a relationship driven market. So selling it from India is a challenge. So you need to understand, be with the people, interact with people, whether it's your prospects, few clients, if you can onboard, your friends or partners, understand what works in the market. So once you're able to do that, spend more time in the market. Uh, that is very, very important. Have understand the nuances when it comes to other compliance, localization of language, support, the kind of competition, pricing point. You understand that when you spend time in that market, and that's true for a lot of the markets. Yeah, you have a lot of playbooks available for markets like US, APAC, because we have a lot of Indian startups have done it and sold it. GCC is something new. You will not find a ready to use playbooks at your end. So spend some time, understand if that's a right market for you or not, because the market is big, but it's not as big as US. So you'll have to see what kind of TAM, SOM that you are targeting, right? Who's your target market? Whether you have enough use cases to deliver for that market. Uh, and for some products, you might be able to find it. For some products, because when we did SaaS Bhumi Kafila as well, when we did our GTM strategies, etc., a lot of startups who came to me and told me that one clarity that we got is that we understand GC is not a market for us. So that clarity is also very important, that whether it's a right market or not. But yeah, if you're able to enter the market, build good success stories, if you feel that market is good, it's very important to work and build success, because news spreads very quickly in that market. It's very network and people driven. So once you build a good success stories, people will start approaching you. They would like to understand what you have done well, and you will get a lot of invites and opportunities that you can work on. So whatever opportunities you get, try to maximize it, build good success stories, and after that, once you're able to do it, people will start reaching out to you themselves.
You have been in India, you have traveled the world, you've been in US, you've been in the Middle East. So what are the few nuances culturally you felt, looking at that as a potential market for your products?
When it comes to culture, right, I feel that Indian culture and GCC culture is very close to each other. There are a lot of, if you go into the details, we both are very welcoming in nature, right? The time we spend in terms of welcoming people, being courteous to them is very common between the two. We both are religious in nature, right? We respect religion. We respect the religion of other persons as well. Thirdly, is more of a family driven culture, right? You will find a lot of family values being there as compared to Indian market. So I see it's very important, easy to relate with people in GCC versus India. So that is very easy, and you'll find a lot of people from Indian ethnicity already present in that market. That gives you some level of comfort factor as well when you're working in the market. And when it comes to travel accessibility, it's as easy as you're traveling to Bangalore from Delhi to go to GCC market. Yeah. So these are some of the key nuances that are there. And in GCC, you will find people are more patient when it comes to understanding, dealing. They know that what stage of journey you are. They will like to give you opportunities. It's not that it's they will just come be very. If it's something they do not like, they will not like to give that opportunity. But if they like you, they feel that there's a potential. You might not be able to deliver today. You might be able to deliver maybe in next 6 months. They will give you those opportunities. And in case there are any challenges that you face, they are patient and they will give you share their feedback. They will be honest and sharing those feedback, but they will give you opportunities to improve on working on those cases.
I think one of the differences that when I navigated the US market and when I went to the GCC market was the same, like in the US, like, if you have a product, you show the product is good, okay, you get it. It feels fits their need, there's a PMF, you'll get it. But I think in GCC, it was more about the people first kind of a culture. Like, you have to first sort of have that personal relationship with the person. If they like you, they would be wanting to explore whatever you've built and sort of go from there. So that is something that I learned. But yeah, that's
Yeah, and that's pretty true, especially in our industry, Shreya. So when it comes to experience, when we started, it's an experience management field now. But when we started, it was more of an enterprise feedback management solution, and that as a category was already had a lot of competition, and it was there in the market for ages, right? And Middle East being a market, within a span of 6 months, we were able to reach out to some of the big players, and they wanted to experiment and give us that chance. Where the product was also not that much evolved. I don't see that opportunities being given in rest of the world because of the culture differences as we were discussing about. So we are fortunate even to go to the market within a span of 6 months and starting reaching out to not only the SMEs but also the large enterprises. For them, it was not a factor of, let's say, price being a differentiator or they cannot go for best in class technologies. They can go, but they are willing to bet on the potential and the relationship that you have. Confidence that work that we have done on in the last 4 5 years gave us a confidence to enter into US as a market, which we entered last year. So 2024 was our entry into the market, and we've got good reviews, and we're building on top of that.
so. I know that you were on the other side of the mic with your podcast with XEBO as well. So how was that experience?
So that was very fun, right? Because I'm telling my story multiple times at different forums, but when you start to understand and listen to the stories of so many different people from coming from different backgrounds, different experience, different journeys, right? It's very fascinating to hear from them, right? One thing that stands out in everything is the passion that they have in terms of what they have built. That is a common theme that comes across people from different genres.
There are different ways people get ideas. So tell me about a quirky situation, maybe a book or a movie or a dialogue that sort of ignited that bulb in you. Okay, let me go out and try this out. Like, was there a moment like that in your journey?
Nothing like that. Actually, maybe the Guru movie always has inspired us, right? And to build something, the kind of efforts that you have to do starting from scratch, right? When you have to come and shout in the market, when you have to sell something, all those things are very important. One thing that always resonate when I build products is one of my ex client always used to bring that point. Whatever you have to build, you have to make it dumb proof, right? So that uh, maybe that's not the right, but make it as easy as for a common person. It's not about adding building complexities, right? It's picking things as simple for the users so that they can use it. For example, when you talk about apps like Uber, right, or different apps, we see people who did not had feature smartphones. They were using feature phones, and now they're so much well versed. Everyone is creating reels, TikToks, using apps like Uber driver app, Urban Lab app. Even when we see our grandparents using WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, right? That is something amazing. So that is the kind of thing when you're building any product, how simpler you can make it for anyone to use.
So everybody has their own definition of success. If you had your own success manifesto, what are the top three guiding principles you will tell young entrepreneurs?
I think first of all, there's no shortcut of success, right? That is very important. You have to grill, be patient, and do a lot of the work we see as a startup uh, founders that we are doing a lot of challenging work. But a lot of the work that we do is monotonous as well, right? 90% of the work is monotonous, right? So you have to be disciplined and be there's no shortcuts. That is very important. Second is in terms of don't go after money. Build something. Try to build a legacy. Build something that you can build for future, which can be there for generations. Right. Third team as well. Find right team. Right. You cannot do anything on your own. So it's very important to have a right team at your end.
If you could pick one superpower to help you in your entrepreneurial journey, which one would you pick?
I wish I would know that at the time of hiring, will that person be a good fit or not? Because that is the key difference between building a great startup and a average startup or a company, right? It's how the talent that you hire. I always tell the team that now, as you grow into the organization, it's not as a CEO or chief of sales or chief of marketing. The key position that is very important is chief of people. You hire, retain the best talent. That is very important. So if I had a superpower, if I would know that this hiring will work, this person will be a right fit for XEBO, that is good enough for me.
Would you rather have unlimited resources with an unpredictable market or have limited resources with a very predictable market?
So there's no fun in predictable market, right? So we are in a startup journey. We are there because we are willing to take that risk and also know the kind of returns that we can get. So if you ask any uh, startup entrepreneur, right, they will always want to deep dive into uh, territories where there are unpredictability. Remember a great line from Game of Thrones, right? Chaos is a ladder, right? So it's always you'll find opportunities where there's unpredictability. Yeah, you can bring, and once you enter into the market, you can make it more streamlined for you.
So, what is one guilty pleasure that keeps you running in your startup journey and that keeps you up to speed?
There are a lot of guilty pleasures which I cannot share as well. Yeah, but there are a few things. For example, I'm very passionate about sports, so especially following sports. Hopefully, playing as well. I don't spend too much time now, but yeah, following sports is something which I'm really passionate about. Spend time with my friends to discuss, have good, detailed, engrossing sessions with them as well. Second was playing poker. So I used to play, but now I don't get much time. But that is something which always help us to unwind. And third thing is always travel. So whenever I get an opportunity, I do tend to travel.
So, I mean, if I talk about me, technology has been the core of how I've been brought up. You know, it was always there in front of me, whether I was writing a poem, creating a chart, or, just sketching something out. But, I did have a laptop in front of me that I could go explore and see how I could do those same things using that. But I always feel that, thinking about alternative careers is super fun. So if you weren't building Exebo, what do you think you would be doing?
See, I you have been brought up in a environment where technology has always been forefront. For me, the environment was always finance. So I was fascinated about finance, coming uh, from a family where all my brothers were either chartered accountants or into financial domain. My father was also into business, into financial stockbroking. So, and I also did my MBA in finance, by the way. So, if not Zibo, I would have been either in a financial domain. In fact, my first job when I started, I worked with investment bank. So maybe I would have working in investment bank someday. What about you?
I would have been either an artist or a poet or a dancer or probably a charcoal sketch artist. So a lot of options, but all on the creative side of things.
Wish I was as talented. I was not that.
No, I think there were certain things that were very natural to me, like dancing and sketching and everything. But everything else, I sort of learned along the way. While you're learning languages, you see, okay, like these things are rhyming. Let me create a poem out of it. Let me recite it. So yeah, I mean, I think I've just sort of absorbed.
I'm a huge respect for people with this talent. I wish I had something. And when you don't, when you lack something, you definitely the respect goes more, right? So it's a great thing. Yeah.
I'm not great at finance, so great respect for you too.
No, it's not. It doesn't take too much to be great in finance.
So we all are very sure that XEBO has great financials. Okay, so anybody watching this video, because we
Yeah.
have the co-founder who's an expert in finance as well. So, what is the most outlandish, funny AI prediction you have seen, and what do you think about it?
Most outlandish is that AI will take over everything, right? And we will be all slaves of AI, right? They will be controlling how we are working, what we are doing. They will be so much trained that they will become intelligent than humans.
And there would be AI wars,
Yeah, there will be,
AI robots
and we
warring
will
each
be
other.
we will be slaves of
Yeah.
those AI bots.
And what do you
So
think about it? Let's go there.
see, but the funny thing is when you start having those conversations, people they are so fascinated and they are so they believe so much in this thing that you sometimes feel it's scary, right? When how this will happen. But yeah, I think it's. I don't think that will happen. We humans have created AI, and we are much more smarter and superior than any technology that we build. So I don't think that will happen.
I think it's about the intention. I think yes, we are smart as humans, but it's all about we have differing intentions amongst us. So we don't know. I mean, we are good people maybe, but there are all kinds of people out there. So
We are living in the world of Kali, but still, I believe that there are more people with good intentions than bad, and that will prevail definitely.
kudos to that. So as an entrepreneur, you must be using a bunch of tools in your day-to-day life to help you sort of stay on track, be productive. So if you could recommend certain tools, books, informational websites that you go to that really help you in your entire journey and in your day-to-day life.
See, one tool that everyone is using, 90% of us, whether it's entrepreneur or a college graduate or someone who is studying in school, is OpenAI, right? So Chat GPT. So I would recommend everyone to start using those tools. There's still people who are not using it on a regular basis. It's a good productivity hack, right? It improves efficiency. It can help you to also be more polished at your front. That is something that you should always use. In terms of books, I would recommend Atomic Habits. I think that is something that you should read. If you can implement, or maybe only 5% of that, that is good enough for you, because the idea is to work on good habits and how you can further improve, whether it's related to your, not only related to your work, whether related to your health, personal life, or related to work. You can make those differences. Hopefully, I'm also learning reading that book. Yeah.
And one last question, around organizations and companies building products and services, and probably doing a lot of transactions in terms of sales of the products, and probably those are the metrics they're sort of deriving their insights from. But how do you think people should start looking at experience of customer experience from their product or service point of view? Companies who are not looking at it seriously, companies that are not taking that into account. How do you see those companies sort of wanting to adopt that in the future, and how should they start navigating this space if they're not already looking at it?
See, I think one of the key point that is coming up is that retention of the customers. So that is one of the key challenges. It's very important for companies to retain and build that loyalty within your current.
Especially because the cost of acquisition is so high.
Yeah, cost of acquisition is so high, and also the cost of switching for customers is low. So they can switch now with one bad experience.
Right.
So one bad experience can lead a customer to switch. They might not visit your restaurant next time. They might switch from one bank to another bank, etc. at their end. So all those things will can happen. So it's very important to build that loyal customer base at your end, and that will also lead into a lot of promoters, referrals at your case. So that is one of the key important things that you want to drive, reduce the churn, and start building loyal customers.
So we have come to the end of a podcast. So whether you are a young entrepreneur wanting to get into building data-driven platforms, or you are an organization who wants to take customer experience seriously, it's a great watch, and I think this would be the stepping stone to the next extraordinary thing that you're building. So next time we'll bring you new insights into new industries. And so see you then.